Good morning. It's 4:45. I cannot. I tried to start earlier, and I cannot get the camera to behave itself. It keeps making my face bigger and not allowing it to pan and show the image that I want to show. I I'm not used to this, and I don't know what the problem is. All of a sudden, there now it dropped back again. It's been going in and out, and I don't understand what's going on. I'm not touching it, and I was trying to figure out the controls, and this isn't how I was planning on starting when I was ready to start a minute or two now ago. I wasn't planning on talking like this, but it's where I am because, see, look at it. I'm not doing that. I'm not touching the camera, and look at it. It's moving in and out. This is really strange. I gotta figure out why it's doing that. It didn't used to do that, and now look at it. It's going in and out all by itself, and it's frustrating to me. Somebody actually mentioned the other day on the Aristo video, were you messing with the camera? And I thought it was because I was looking over at emails that were coming in, but I now see maybe it was doing it yesterday too, and I didn't notice it, but today it's really become an issue for me. Anyway, before I even get into the title for today, I had the beautiful opportunity to spend last evening. I had made an arrangement to spend it with my family. My daughter's been going through some serious issues in her life, and anyway, I got to spend time with my son and his girlfriend and my daughter and my grandkids last evening at a beautiful concert that my son's band was playing at an Oktoberfest, and we had a family outing, and we had planned this earlier in the week to get together and to spend some family time together. And I really had a good time last night, not just connecting with my family, but connecting with many friends. But even as I was involved in that, coming home, and then again this morning when I woke up, and I didn't get a whole lot of sleep again, but what else is new, right? This question keeps coming to mind, and that's the title that I'm going to use. The question is the title for today's video. When will we stop the corruption? For several years, dating back to 9/11/2001, I have known that something was seriously wrong with the system. In the early stages of that awareness, I spent a lot of time going down the rabbit hole and learning about the conspiracies of the establishment against the people of the world. For the past few years, about as long as I have been doing these videos, I have been involved with people who are trying to make a difference by creating solutions, not merely looking at the problem. As I see it, one thing in particular has stood in the way of accomplishing our dream of righting the wrongs in our world: lack of funding. It was true in RuSA, and it may be true of NESARA, Divine Province, OPPT, SwissIndo, and other plans to create a new system of governance. I am convinced that the single biggest challenge on the geopolitical front is turning everything around, or on the geopolitical front, to having everything turn around, is to get the people who stand in the way of releasing the people's value back to the people out of the way. We need to determine who those key people are and stop their ability to thwart progress. That's our challenge. Now, for some people, they would think, well, it's Obama or some government, someone that holds a governmental position. I'm convinced that they are not the problem. I'm convinced in my heart that they are merely puppets. I'm also convinced that one of the other big hindrances has been the consciousness of the people. But as I look at the people of the world, and as I just interact with people on a general level, people are more aware that something has been wrong and something needs to be fixed than ever before. Many people are where I was in the early, 10 years ago, 10, 12 years ago, uh, in learning what's going on in the world. Many people are frustrated. I sense that frustration. I sense it in myself at times. There's times that I'm greatly buoyed by the expectation that powerful people, I didn't know who they were when I was with RuSA. I had no clue, but we kept hearing that very powerful people were going to fund the restoration of the Republic. I hear that, I see that in NESARA, the revaluation of what is it, the dinar, uh, and the release of the World Trust funds. I mean, this has been an issue over and over and over again. In today's knowledge for me, I actually believe I know the one man who has control of those funds, but there seems maybe to be even something wrong there. Mr. Sino, from the Asian perspective, Mr. Sino is, as I've said before, King of Kings and M1. This is not something new or secretive. It's out there in the general public, as far as I'm aware, and people know that, have heard the name at least, and they're still wrangling back and forth. If you read Benjamin Fulford and look at some of the other things that are being said about the geopolitical struggle, you know that the funding hasn't been released yet. How do we know it hasn't been released yet? Because nothing has really changed. The old system continues to dig in their heels and continues to ignore all of the remedies that are applied by the various groups of people worldwide. The people in the structure, the court systems, the attorneys, the politicians, the mainstream media continues to just stand in the way. And what's it going to take? And this is the question that I'm pondering this morning as I come to the computer, before I came to the computer. This question that I'm pondering: who is it? A human being? Is it an extraterrestrial? Who can release what's needed to create heaven on earth, to release the funding to the people, to turn it around so that we can build the bridge that we need to get from here to there? Now, I know there are people that want to jump from where we are into a whole new world, and they just want to leave this world and go into the new world, to go onto another planet, or to make the people that have stood in the way go to another planet so that we can have this one back. However they see it, but I still am convinced that the bridge must be built, that we need to use structures to overturn the existing structure and to get it to work the way it can work for everybody. Everything needs to be repurposed. Everything needs to be reassessed and reevaluated. How can we make this work for everyone in the whole world? How can we stop the poverty? How can we stop the violence? How can we stop war? How can we stop the corruption in our governments, in our corporations, in our institutions? How can we do that? I see lots of things happening that give me a lot of hope and a lot of expectation of change. And yet, I also recognize that it hasn't fully manifested yet. Not for me, and I don't know that it's manifested for anyone on this planet. It still seems. I got a letter when I got home yesterday from another engagement in the afternoon. When I got home, I had a letter waiting for me in my mailbox that they're going to suspend my driver's license indefinitely on the 22nd of October because I refused to pay the fine that the judge ordered back in February. I made him an offer that I would accept the fine if he would accept the fine to counterbalance that fine and me fining them for false arrest because they did not produce any witnesses for that event. They simply dismissed the event. Well, they can't dismiss it. I was the wronged party, and I didn't. And I said I will drop that, and for this amount of money. And they did not answer my affidavit. They did not rebut it. In fact, the judge issued not a dismissal, but I can't remember the word that he used in that order. And I submitted paperwork to the court on that issue. But the court continues, even when I've done the courtesy notices thing of the OPPT, and now I'm going to be sending out some bills because they responded with an action. So their action is unacceptable to me. So I look at these things, and there are other things that I'm going to apply this time that I'm not going to talk about in today's video. But there are other things other tools that I've been given to help win this battle. But when push comes to shove, it all comes down to funding and, I guess you could say, to what's the word that I'm using? Enforcement. Somehow, who's ever stopping the flow of funds. I know Mr. C knows. I mean, I believe in my heart. I don't know. I believe in my heart. I've never met the man, so I don't know him. But I've communicated with people that seem to be closer to him than I am. And I believe that he sincerely wants to release the funds of these world trusts and this tremendous wealth back to the people. The OPPT is not wrong. SwissIndo is not wrong. NESARA and Divine Province and even the reestablishment of a republic in the United States and in all countries of the world. This is the way we need to go temporarily so that we can start liberating the minds of humanity from the mind control and from the system. It does require that we go into the system just like the OPPT did. It went into the Uniform Commercial Code and used the Uniform Commercial Code to overturn itself, so to speak, to get it out of the way, to remove that impediment. So the things have been done lawfully, but they're still ignored on the legal front by the powers that still want to hang on and cling. And something has to give. I sense that something is close to giving, but I ask all of you to meditate, pray, whatever you do, to have the blockages taken out, to have the blockages removed, so that we can bring these systems that are being created by many people around the world, bring these systems into play of a world that works for everybody. This is what we all want. This is what we've wanted for a long time. And so again, I ask you to focus some attention on creating solutions in the world. And I don't want to get a whole bunch of emails from people saying, Ron, it's not about governance, it's not about money. No, that's what we're used to in the world, and we need to use that to bring itself down. We need to use the system to turn the system around. And I know that may sound crazy, and maybe it is, but we need to do something to stop the hindrances so that the wealth or value can flow to us, and that we are enabled to do the things that we're wanting to do to create the world that we're wanting to create, that bringing the kingdom of heaven to earth, so that the system works for people and not against people. I think that's where I'm going to stop this video. We need to stop the corruption wherever it is. We need to recognize it and stop it. That's my message for today. Thank you for listening. Namaste. Now it's moving again.